All right, so let's find slope or rate of change between 2 points. Okay. So first, let's do this simultaneously with the graph and without, and then we'll do it just without the graph. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. In the end, you're really doing the same thing. There's just different ways to organize it. So I'm going to do this by making a table. Okay, so basically, I need to find the rate of change. How do I get from point A to point B, right? In terms of looking at in terms of change of the x and the change in the y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put each point in a table. So I'm going to put the first point in a table, 0, -2. And then I'm going to put the second point, right? Remember, the first number is the x, the back number is the y. All right, so now I'm going to pretend like I'm using the graph to do it. So the first thing I would do is I like to start from the left and go to the right, is I would figure out, what direction. In this case, I actually went this way first. So I'm going to go, so it looks like it's going to go up 2 spaces, okay? So that is a change in the y. See, I went +2, okay? All right, then I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces in the x direction, right? So the rate of change is the change in y over the change in x. So it's going to be 2 over 5. Okay. So let's do another one kind of simultaneously with the graph. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the points into a table. So I'll put that point into a table and the other point into a table. All right, so now I'm going to start by drawing, this is going to be my x change. That's how much I change from here to here. And you can see that it is increasing, right? And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces in the x direction. And then I'm going to figure out how it goes in the y direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it goes up 5. So you can see it's kind of hard, but if you think about it, it's 3 spaces to 0 and then 6 more spaces after 0 to get to 9. Or sorry, to get to 6, so that's 9 spaces. Okay. And then the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So it's 5 over 9. Right. I go 9 this way, 5 that way. All right. So put everything in the table. Okay. So first thing in this case, I'm going to find the change in y. You can see this one is going down. So that went down 3 spaces. And then I'm going to go, what's the change in the x? Is going to the right. So that's a positive +4. So the rate of change is the change in y over the change in x. And I went ahead and just put the negative sign out in the front. All right, so let's do this without the graph. Okay, so I'm going to put this first point in, then I'll put the second point in. So the first thing I like to ask myself is the rate of change, and just looking at the x, are they increasing or decreasing? So if I start with the x, I go from a 3 to a 5, so that is they are increasing. So that needs to be a positive number. And you can reason your way through that and go, oh, it's 2 spaces. But if you're having problems, you can do the right one minus the left one, and that'll tell you how far you go. 5 minus 3 is 2. And I go from 10 to -4. Now that one is a decrease, so this better come out negative. Okay, so I do 4 minus 10, and that gives me -6. So the rate of change is the change in the y's over the change in the x's. Right? And I can put that negative out in the front, but I can actually divide 6 divided by 2. All right, let's do another one. So take the first point, put it in the table. Take the second point, put it in the table. And what we're going to do is say, okay, let's look at this one. Is this increasing or decreasing as I go from this point and that point? And this is an increase, okay? And so I go, okay, I do the right one minus the left one. Okay, that's a -2. So you can see here, this is going to be +4. Okay. You can also think of this on a number line, right? It's -2 to 0 is 2 spaces, and I got to go 2 more spaces after that, so that's 4 spaces. This one you can see I am decreasing, so this better be negative. So it's 1 minus -4. Put in a negative, right? Add the opposite there, and that decreases by 3 spaces. And then my slope is -3 over 4. Okay. Same thing, take the first point, point A, I'm going to put it in the table. Then I'll put point B in the table. Remember, the first number is your x, second number is your y. So, okay, now this is the negatives always kind of get people, right? But -15 to a -20 is a decrease. That's going down. So I do the right one minus the left one. And so what that needs to be is add the opposite, and that decreases 5 spaces, right? And then here I got to go, okay, that is an increase from -2 to 7. I do the right one minus the left one, add the opposite, and that is an increase of 9 spaces. So the slope, or the rate of change, is the y change over the x change. Okay. And once again, I'll go ahead and put that negative out in the front. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's keep going. So these are all negative in this one. So put the first point in there, then I'll put the second point in there. Okay. So I'm going to go from -9 to -6. So think about this. Is this an increase or a decrease? And that's an increase, right? A smaller negative is actually a bigger number. And so I'm going to do the right one minus the left one, add the opposite, and that's an increase of 3 spaces. Right? That's in the x. That's what would be to the right. And then I get, okay, from -2 to -7, that's a decrease. Do the right one minus the left one, add the opposite. That is -5. All right. So I get the rate of change is -5/3, or -5/3.